Hi, this is John Close, JC to my friends, and welcome to today's little episode on the adventures of retirement. Today what we're going to talk about is some major blunders that we can all fall into if we're not sort of paying attention. And I can tell you, I have come within a hair of doing a couple of these things only because they look just so cool. I thought, oh man, I've retired. I got to be able to do this. The first big thing is not really understanding your finances. Overspending, especially they say, you spend your money in the go-go years, which is the first part of your retirement, and then towards the end, it sort of levels out and changes. You don't spend as much because you can't do as much. Well, that's all well and good, but even then, you have to be sort of common sense thinking, I have to make it till, the way I'm looking at it now, 85 or 90 certainly isn't unusual. So you have to think about that. Yes, you are going to spend more when you're able to do more. But the thing is to put a little cap on that and realize what's happening. Again, understanding your longevity, inflation, and how that works. And just, if you're an investment person or you have an advisor, making sure they get you into the right things. But just, whether you take Social Security early or take it late, really think that out, because that's one of the first things. You'll run out of money early. And I know we think, we got to spend it because, we're not going to last. Well, you may last a long time, and I can tell you my neighbors are lasting, and my people in my family are older and older, and that's awesome. It's awesome, and I'm looking forward to being there. So you really got to plan financially for that, and that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it all. It just means plan for it. Plan for it. Say, okay, if I live to 85, I got to have this much. If I live to 90, I got to have that much. Plan for it. Next thing is always the physical well-being. We can go do all these things right now. If you're in the front end of your retirement, you can do a lot of stuff now. You really don't think too much about it. But as you get older, it becomes harder physically harder and harder to do things. If you've been physically fit your entire life and you've always worked out and all that, then that's one thing. But if you're like me, I've worked out. I'm not haven't done it. I'm not a total gym rat, but I did. And now I have to pick up the pace a little bit, because if I want to do all the things that I want to do, I got to be able to get out there and walk the stairs. I got to be able to walk on the tours through countries. I have to, if I want to go skiing, I have to be able to get down the hill, which terrifies me altogether. So I won't be doing that. But I tell you, one of the things I was just thinking about, going scuba diving and getting out of the boat, climbing up the ladder on the back of the boat with the air tank on my back, taking my fins off in the water. It's very specific things, but I worried about that physically. Can I do that? So you have to take care of yourself physically so you can do these things. And we all want to do them. The other thing is, the next thing we'll hit is your social engagements. You're not going to lose friends, but what you're going to find is the people you hang out with, probably not hanging out with them as much as before. And you have to be in a mental place where you can handle that. You have to be in a mental place where you can handle that. Whether it's, just calling, texting some old buds just to see what's going on, whether it's going out to the golf course and meeting a few new people, you have to be ready for that, because if you're not set emotionally for this and mentally for what's going to happen, you don't want to get into a big depression. Things like that can happen when all of a sudden you have a pretty big life change. So you just don't want to find yourself totally isolated. You don't want to be sitting in your room just watching videos, or just not contact with the outside, with your friends, your neighbors. It doesn't matter. Even if you just say hi, a smile, a thank you, here you go, open a door for somebody. Sometimes it's really the smallest stuff that's not a big social interaction, but it can make a big, big impact on you. Just being nice to somebody. It doesn't matter. At the grocery store, if you go to the tire place to get your tires fixed, telling the guy who worked on your tires, thanks, great job, I appreciate it very much. So doing stuff like that makes you feel good. And that's what you want to do. You want to feel good mentally. And probably the last thing is the lack of planning for your time. This comes in with routine, but you want to plan for the stuff you want to do. If you want to travel, like I want to travel, I'm a driver. I like to drive around the country. So I have to plan for that. How am I going to do it? I got to make sure I feel good enough to do it. And sometimes I don't want to plan where my hotel is, plan this, plan that. But you have to. If you want to enjoy it, and I realize it when I go to do something, if I have a plan, it's a lot less mental stress. If I know where I'm going, know where I'm going to stay, it doesn't mean before I get there I can't do a million things, but just not having to worry about those other things is a big, big deal. So let's recap. There's 4 things you really should worry about, consider, and these are blunders, I'm telling you. The first one is exhausting your savings early. Yeah, I thought about buying that antique car. Oh man, and I've had them before. I had this 63 or 62 Thunderbird that I bought once, actually for my kid to drive to high school, but for me too, just because I thought it was an odd-looking car. And I was thinking, man, when I retire, I'm going to buy me another car. And then I thought, in reality, how often am I going to drive it? I'm one of those sort of practical people. If I'm not going to drive it, if I'm going to pay for insurance on it, common sense tells you, if you have enough money to throw it away on something like that, that's great. If not, don't do it. So, exhausting your savings prematurely, there's 1. Neglecting your physical body is 2. Again, you do that if you don't take care of your body in retirement, you got a long road ahead. Social isolation. Don't get out there. You don't have to make a whole list of new friends. Just get there, say hi to the person at the grocery store. Or I know that I go to maybe the same restaurant all the time, and the waitresses know me. Whatever it is, that small bit of interaction, make sure you have that. So that's succumbing to social isolation. Don't do that. And plan for your time. Plan for all those wonderful things that now that we have the time to do it, we can do it. We can do it. We can have fun. You have to do it just a little bit of planning, and again, that'll take off mental stress. So we have those 4 things that will keep us from going off the deep end and having some major problems in our retirement. So this is John Close saying thank you so much for joining me on this adventure into retirement, and I hope you find that this is helpful. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.